Anything on the tires?
No. I don't see any debris or anything. Weird noise, wasn't it?
It was a... Yep. Told you. I heard it.
That was fucking shoulder here.
I heard the pop.
Looks like it's our right middle.
Well, we both heard a loud thunk. And we were like, what was that? What was that? Did you feel anything?
No, I heard it though.
I heard a pop, and then the TPMS didn't do anything for about 10 seconds, and then it went off. And it's the middle. What side?
Looks like it's right side middle.
So passenger side? Passenger side though?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So that's good. There's no shoulder here. There's an exit 3/4 of a mile up here, it looks like.
You want to go? Let's go check it out. God dang it. Oh yeah. She's donezo. It looks like something. It looks like the thing dropped.
Like it just came right off.
It looks like it came off the suspension, right?
Yeah. The wheels look like it just came unbeaten. Rim looks okay.
But this doesn't look like something we could drive to the next location.
No.
God dang it. On the plus side, it's not too hot out, not too cold, and it's on this side of the RV, so that's nice. What do you think that we need to do here?
Well,
Besides
that's not ours.
Besides cry.
But this is a problem. We're gonna have to have this fixed ASAP.
How do we do this?
Well, we're gonna have to get a spare on.
Yeah, but we only have one spare, and what if that tire needs... So what happens if we don't make it to the fam camp on the day we're supposed to check in?
Well, we can check in later, but hopefully we'll only be delayed
Yeah.
a little bit here.
Are you gonna see if you can beat your time of changing the tire from the last blowout? We haven't had a blowout for like 4 years, I think, or something like that. So whatever.
Get some brand new gloves.
Yeah. Listen, there's a good breeze. The sun is out. It's like 68 degrees outside, so this could all be worse.
So let's catch you up here. As you can see, RV life is just kicking us in the teeth once again. This incident happened in our travels between Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Colorado Springs. Now, if this were just a simple roadside tire change, we would show you that and have some tips and just go on about our way and move on to Colorado Springs. But as you're about to see, this is not just a typical blowout. In fact, this issue drags on for 2 weeks.
I think that the main concern is not that you can't change that tire, but the other tire looks like it's gonna blow, right?
Yeah. Battery. We should be able to get plenty of lift.
There, it's straightened up just fine. There's no problem. Here they go.
Now, I know a lot of you are looking at this and saying, what the heck? Is he using the hydraulics to change that tire? Yes, I am, but of course that's not the approved method, so I need to elaborate a little bit on this. Number one, because the wheel was completely off of bead and it had fallen down, I had no way to get my bottle jack under there to jack it up. Number two, those 2 jacks adjacent on the other side of that are rated for 16,000 pounds together, so they've got plenty of lifting power for that side of the RV. Also, because we have 3 axles, I don't have to really worry about it falling down on me or just falling down in general. If they do, they would just come down onto those two tires and I'd be back where I started. It's not gonna like fall on me and crush me or do anything really, really bad. With all of that said, in retrospect, I still could have done a lot better with the tools that I had on hand, even my bottle jack. I could have lifted the RV like I did in this, but then put my bottle jack under that middle wheel and put it back down, and put that under the bad wheel suspension and lowered it back down. But I didn't, so feel free to roast me in the comments. I know you want to, but this is why I maintain that our RV maintenance and repair videos are how I did it videos and not how-to videos. I am not a professional. I have lots of room for improvement. That said, moving forward, I have purchased some things for our next roadside tire change because it will happen. It's inevitable, these things just happen. I got a set of these leveling blocks. They're designed for leveling an RV that doesn't have an auto level, but in this situation I could have drove up on the two good wheels, leaving the third wheel in the middle available for work. I'm gonna try those out in the future and I'll make a video on those, but that's what I've got for the next time this happens. But let's get back to the tire change. Spoiler, this ends up being a lot more than a tire change. Our brake caliper, looks like the brake caliper came loose and locked up this wheel. Maybe got it hot, maybe that popped it off. It all happened pretty fast. I'm trying to think how big of a hammer.
How big of a hammer?
So I've got my, I don't know.
Oh, hi.
5-pound hammer. I can't hit the rim. There's tires on the other side. So I gotta use this, see if I can knock that rim off of there. What we've got here, looks like we lost both of our caliper bolts somehow. Whoa. Yeah, we've got a bolt missing on this other one too. These over here look fine. Those all look good. This one back here looks good. It's jammed up against the wheel here, that's why it's not coming off. I think if I can get this hammered off here.
Oh.
There we go. That was easier than I thought.
Smile. Whoa. Huh. Oh, yeah. We got ourselves a real situation here, and it appears to have been something that was completely preventable and my fault again. When I replaced our brake pads about 6 months before this, I should have added more blue Loctite to those caliper bolts. I did torque them down, but that was obviously not enough. Both of the bolts backed out on the passenger side middle wheel, and the passenger side front wheel had one missing bolt. The rest were all good. No idea why, just those two calipers had issues and the other ones were perfectly fine, but why does anything happen? Back to the issue at hand here though. I have no extra caliper bolts, so I can't just reattach it and put on the spare. We did consider limping to a service station on 5 wheels and maybe just putting that caliper up on the top and keeping it out of the way. But with the damage to that adjacent tire, we weren't real comfortable with that because we'd really be looking at like 4.5 wheels when we should have 6. So we scratched that plan and we decided we needed to get the spare on. But obviously we had to do something with this brake caliper. I could just remove the brake caliper, but I need a way to cap off that brake line so the other 5 brakes can work. I can't just be shooting brake fluid out there. That's not gonna work. So we called AAA for a tire change, knowing it wasn't gonna be just a tire change, but hoping the guy might have some way to cap off that brake line or might have some other ideas and some way to get us back on the road with our spare.
I can set it up as a tire change, but that's over if they'd be able to come out and try to assist with.
All right.
I can't guarantee anything.
If I can get a fitting to cap that off and then just tie it up here, this still spins freely. As long as this doesn't give us any trouble, we can limp our way to a location. While we were waiting for the AAA guy, I got the spare down, and we even had another Momentum owner who happened to be viewers stop and see if we needed any help. That was nice of them.
I'm documenting that we had a fellow Momentum owner stop and help us out.
Happy to help.
If you're okay with that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's Russ.
Russ dresses all fancy when he tows.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is leftover clothes from yesterday.
And while we were chatting, the AAA guy showed up. Now, he didn't have any way to cap the brake line, but he did come up with the idea of using my small vice grips to crimp that line. And after a leak check, he secured the vice grips with safety wire, and then he tied the whole thing up out of the way onto our suspension there. He even put our spare on for us. That was really nice. This was definitely handy. I got our TPMS sensor. We can monitor the spare, and that's not what we're worried about. So that middle wheel's now taken care of. I feel good about that. But if you remember, we had one bolt missing on the caliper on the front tire. And if you look at it, say the caliper is like this, and you've got the wheel rotating this way, the bolt that was missing was on the bottom. It had the top one. So as you hit the brakes, it wanted to rotate out like this and was scratching the inside of the hub a little bit. So I moved that bolt to the bottom. That way the rotation pulls it closer, not pushing it away. So that was a temporary fix for that wheel. So now at least we're only slightly crippled with 5 brakes, a damaged tire, and a missing caliper bolt.
So we're going 48. We've got the spare tire and the cracked tire. And there's the Lawrence, who was the AAA guy, checked for us, and there's a place near a Love's travel stop, like a Love's RV stop, I should say, where we can camp for the night. Right next to that is J&M Tire, and they have the tires that we need. So but we've got to go 28 miles to get there. We got to go 28 miles on this.
26 miles to go, 71 miles to empty.
So there's also that added stress on top of it all. So we should probably go to Love's first.
We'll fuel first.
We're getting fuel first because we are low, and that's scary if you saw that video.
Rookies.
Are we rookies?
Turn right at this.
Oh, and there's a Subway here.
Yeah, eat fresh.
Okay, well that's good.
53 miles to empty.
And we made it.
We averaged 17 miles per gallon going 50 miles an hour.
Hey, all right.
We should go 50 all the time.
Yay.
We found that J&M tire location and got the damaged tire traded out for a new one. Of course, they swapped it out and balanced it and all that. Then we headed to the Love's RV stop and we called it a night. So we've got 2 rest stops between here and Colorado Springs. So we're gonna stop at both of those, check things out. I'm gonna keep a real close eye on our temperatures and pressures on our TPMS. That's all we can really do.
And that's all we can really do, and just hope for
Luckily,
a very uneventful trip today.
Yeah, luckily.
We had an eventful enough day yesterday,
Yeah.
so we don't need eventful
We
today.
like boring travel days.
Boring travel days are the best travel days.
So we kept a close eye on things on our 2 short hours of travel up to Colorado Springs. We got into our campsite at the U.S. Air Force Academy Fam Camp and got all set up. If you want to see this campground and what we did while we were there, be sure to subscribe. We'll have a separate video on our travel series coming out soon, maybe next week. But for this video, I'm just focusing on the wheel issues and repairing them. We were staying here for a couple of weeks, and the first week was basically just waiting on some parts. Since we have partnerships with Grand Design RV and MoreRide, they were gracious enough to send us parts, even though this was likely my fault. So the time has come. We've been at this park now for about 10 days. We've got a few days left. I want to do this wheel and tire project. I've got 2 new calipers. I've got matching brake pads that match to make sure I've got the same ceramic on all 6 brakes. That's what I used when I replaced my brake pads last time. I'll save those as spares. I've also got 2 new brake mounts. I'm at 6,000 feet here. I'm not quite used to the altitude yet. So anyway, I know I have all the tools to change the wheel, put the calipers on, torque them. I've got blue, Loctite, all that. But I've never done these before. So before I go to the auto parts store and get parts, tools, whatever, I want to only make one run today. That's going to be my goal. One Home Depot / auto parts / parts run. So I'm going to get this first wheel off here and just make sure I have the tools I need to hold the bolt on the back and get it off and on there. So I got a plan of attack here. I've got all the tools I need. I just need my hose to bleed the brakes once I get it all back together. But this brake mount is mounted here, you know, to the independent suspension, kind of around, like a C around the actual hub. But to get to these bolts, the hub has to come off. Luckily, I bought plenty of grease seals last time I did my brake job and bearing packing. But I'm not going to re-grease these, repack them. That was just done like 3 months ago. So I don't want to have the bearings off, or the hubs off, and the bearings and all that stuff exposed for too long. So I'm going to first tackle the brake situation here, replace this hose, replace the whole caliper, get that all ready to go. And then when I'm ready to put on the new mount, I'll pull the hub off, put a new seal on it, maybe add a little bit of grease, I do have some, put it back on, and put it all back together. That's the plan. See how it goes. It's not snugging. I don't like that. All right, so I have thoroughly enough stripped out this NPT male T junction, I think is what it's called, and I need a new one. So I thought I had all the parts I needed. Little did I know I was going to break one. You know, while I was attaching the brake line, I thought the original was like snugged up against the bottom of that square T part. So I kept turning it thinking it was going to tighten that up, and I ended up just stripping it out. Of course, this is in the late afternoon mountain time on a Friday before a long weekend. So my contacts at MORRIDE had all gone home, and I won't be able to get anything sent out until Tuesday. But I found one on Amazon. It said it might be delivered here tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they get here tomorrow. If not, I went ahead and added 3 days on to our stay here if we need them. So maybe we'll be delayed. If we won't, I don't know. See if we can get one of these in. In the meantime, I can go ahead and mount the calipers, mount the caliper mounts, and then mount the calipers on the caliper mounts. So now I'm just waiting on parts again. But the next morning I decided to go ahead and mount the middle brake caliper and connect it all up since I didn't damage that one. This time I was very, very careful to not over tighten that line and not strip out any more parts. I also added plenty of blue Loctite to the caliper bolts this time, and I torqued those bolts down to 45 foot-pounds per spec. I have one last trick for these bolts when I'm done though. A couple of days later, my Amazon parts came in. None of them work, so Workaround has been awesome. They are sending over 3 more of these. They said, how many do you need? I said, I need 1, so you better send 3, just in case I do something stupid again. But the bottom line is we are stuck here for a couple more days. More waiting on parts. If I didn't mention it, we're on a military base and we can't get packages there. It's at the fam camp, it's kind of a pain. So everything I've received for this issue, the tires and all that, I've had to go off base and go get them at various locations, tire shop, UPS store, etc. Anyway, after a couple of days, I get the brake line parts from Workaround. They're the correct parts, of course, because they sent them. I get those installed with no issues on that front wheel. Now that everything is assembled, I just need to bleed that brake system. All 6 brakes have to be bled, even though I only mess with the 1. And I bled those from the rear to the front, which of course where the brake actuator is. I did this by pulling the breakaway pin to activate the actuator. Of course, I had to keep going back and forth, turning it on and off, and I had to keep filling up the actuator with more brake fluid as I did this. Confident that the brakes are now back to 100%, I went back around to each caliper and added Loctite to those bolts and torqued them down. Now I know that all 6 brakes have Loctite and they're all good and torqued. I shouldn't have this problem again. But I went one step further and I added this security check marker paint to each bolt. That way I can periodically do a very easy visual check to see if they have moved. I just take my phone and stick it down there and I look at the camera and I can see that the orange paint is still on there and it's good to go. I also do this now as part of my T24 checklist, which is the day before departure checklist. And I also check it during travel days at rest stops and stuff because I'm kind of paranoid now. So all of this 2 weeks of drama and chaos and just one thing after another was all preventable. So the moral of this story is don't take shortcuts. I skipped putting the Loctite on when I put the caliper bolts back in the first time because it had some on there. I thought it would be fine, but it clearly wasn't. If I had taken the time to just add the Loctite to the caliper mounting bolts when I changed our brake pads, this whole thing could have been avoided. The upside is that every challenge like this is a learning experience that I get to share with you guys. So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or tips and tricks, or if you just want to flame me on how many mistakes I made, I'll see you in the comments section down below, and thanks for watching.